Okay, so welcome guys. It's the Team Victory All-Star Call, October 12th. I can never remember the date, so I always have to look at my calendar. October 12th, and you can see I'm very well put together as always on a Sunday night. It was a long 2 days, let me tell you. And I have a hockey game tonight right after this call, so it'll be. Good news is I can sleep in tomorrow. No, I can't sleep in tomorrow. I'm picking my husband up at the airport tomorrow. So, welcome to my world. And you must wonder what this is. This was not part of the call, but I just happened to notice it in the background. This actually is, it's called a Diva ring light for filming videos, and I wish that I had it on this side of my computer so that my face would be all nice and pretty. But what it does is, I'll light it up. So those videos, those quick tip videos that I've been doing, I put my iPhone here, and it's not a very good view here, but makes your face look really nice and pretty. So that's what that is. It's really cool and really easy to use, and you know, when you start doing more videos, you'll start to want to look at what you have in the background, because it can be distracting. I'm sure that you guys naturally look, I know I do, when I look at people's videos, if I go through and I look at everybody's videos, I see what's, you know, where are they? Are they in their kitchen? Are they in their bedroom? Are they, I mean, it's just a natural thing that we do. So I'm sure that you do the same thing and look. So this is probably a little distracting because it's distracting me. So one little quick tip for you guys that are doing videos now, and if you're in the Emerald to Diamond group, you have been forced to do a couple videos. So one tip, and if you haven't, I mean, I've gone through, Shalene had this, nobody really talks about it, but I did it. It was called the Video Academy. And this was before Instagram Academy, and this was before her success, Smart Success, and then Marketing Impact. So she had this Video Academy, and I have all the discs. I should probably go through them again and look at them. But there are some tips that she shared about shooting videos, and I'm sure that she's shared them in, you know, some of her podcasts and such. But one of the things that stuck out for me when I first started doing videos and I was watching this is that natural light. So when she was doing the 30-day push videos, what she would do is she would look around the room where there was natural light at a certain time of the day, and then she would sit there and she would do the video. So for example, during the day, I don't necessarily need this ring light because I have a window right here, and so the window actually has a really natural, it makes you pretty. So if you're shooting a video, my suggestion is go like by your kitchen window, or if you're in your bedroom, go by the bedroom window. And if you're even sitting on the bed, or and you don't have a desk in front of the window, set yourself in front so that the natural light comes and hits you in the face. I mean, I'm not a photographer, and so this is like layman's terms, but I do notice the difference when you do have that natural light in front of you, if you don't have a fancy old ring light. What Shalene was doing when she was shooting the videos is she had a couch that was up against her window. So she would sit at her couch and she would shoot her video. I'm off screen here. And she would shoot her video because she had that natural light, and they came out beautiful. So that's my one little tip. You guys are getting better at videos. You're getting more comfortable. Another tip, this is really important. So you talk about being distracted, right? You're watching me. I look up a lot, actually. I do it just out of, because I'm thinking. And sometimes my calendar, you guys know my calendars are up here. Sometimes my calendars give me little triggers to remember. But you watch people. Like I'm watching Smiles, and I'm watching, you know, Cheers. So you watch people. So my point that I want to make now is I want you guys to look in the camera, okay? I am not going to call anybody out, but I know that there are people on this team that don't look in the camera. Because they're focused. You guys are focused on what you want to say. See, I'm not looking at the camera. You're focused on what you want to say. So you're thinking and you're not looking at the camera, and the people that are watching you are like, look at the freaking camera. So my suggestion is, and this is one of the things that Shalene said too, you could take, if you really want to, if you cannot remember the message, I like to just kind of ad lib. I created a couple notes, but for me, it's more natural to just talk about what I want to talk about. But if that's not you, and you need your notes because you don't want to forget something, take like this. So these are Post-its, right? So you can take this Post-it, and I'm going to post this right on my computer screen. Now, the funny thing is I've covered my face on my Zoom monitor, which forces me to look in the camera at you guys, but right below that would be my notes. So my suggestion for you is to do that, is to cover your face and put your notes right in front of you. It's not that you're reading, but I'm looking at that. All I'm looking right now, honestly, I'm looking at the Post-it note, but it's so close to the camera that it's good for you guys to be able to see me because it looks like I'm talking to you. That's my point. Look in the camera, please. Now, kind of one of those things where if you were in the coffee talk and you're noticing things like, what would Anna do? In the hashtag, what would Anna do? And now I can call you out on that. So now I can call you out on, and you guys have to be, the voice of the team, all 13 of you, the voice of the team to tell people to look in the camera. You guys are doing awesome with your videos. Just look in the camera, right? So that what my point is, you have the ability to say that because now you know better. So if you see a teammate that's doing a video, obviously compliment them on the video because the fact that they did it was huge. But also now we all collectively know, look in the camera, and it's okay to say that because we want each other to be better at what they're doing, right? So that's why we're a team, and that's why we work together to make sure that everybody is successful and that nobody's left behind and nobody's doing things that could be better. Because why not? I don't know. For me, if somebody said to me, I love that video, but just next time, can you, like, if you looked in the camera, you would be so much more engaging. So for me, I like to take constructive criticism. I wish that I could do that for everybody, but there are just too many people. So that's why I need those people that have heard this now to share, to give tips, to be collective in your own training. The other thing is that helps you with your leadership and sharing with your team. If you're helping other people that are not necessarily on your team, but are on the team collectively, it feels great when you actually help somebody. So this could be a really easy thing to do. If somebody chooses to do a video, it's okay to say something. I loved it. Maybe next time it's brighter so I could see your beautiful face or whatever. Okay, so that was not on my list to talk about, but it just happened to come up. I'm going to go over a couple things and then we're going to talk to Ellie. Okay, I'm going to tell you what happened last week. Something really big in my business happened that is, talk about failing forward. It really sucked. It really, really sucked. And there are only two people that know what happened. And one of them is on this call and the other one is dealing with a child in a fever. So I was stupid in my business. I did a very rookie thing. My husband's account, I've had Home Direct for years, 5 years, right? Sunday night, I happened to look at my sponsorship drill down. So if you have two people on your team, then you have the ability to go and look at your sponsorship drill down. Go to your Coach Back online office, go to my office, my downline, sponsorship drill down. And then what you want to do, if you have a bigger team, you want to expand, you're going to edit that report and expand it to 5 levels deep. But as a default, it shows you your 3 levels deep. What you need to do is make a habit of checking that. So what I do check it, but I'm not like I used to be. I used to have it in my calendar that I would check my sponsorship drill down, make sure who's going inactive, so that I could reach out to them. Well, I happened to glance at it. No, it wasn't. I glanced at it Thursday, which was right after the week closed. And usually there's a bunch of red inactives because, you know, things just need to catch up and their Shakeology HCs kick in that week. So I saw that and then I forgot about it. And then I completely forgot about it. And guess what happened? His diamond rank dropped. He went inactive because I did not treat my business like a business and I didn't check on early in the week and find out why he was still showing inactive. Turns out I have a debit card that I've changed. And so it was unable to process, and it goes through his email, and he forgot to send it to me or didn't see it. I don't even want to go down that road because I don't want to blame anybody but myself. It's my responsibility to check it. So I tried to plead my case with Coach Relations. Nope, doesn't matter. If you have your spouse's account, this is 2 lessons in this. If you are managing your spouse's account, what I want you to do is I want you to fill out this form. Where's this form? Because I just filled it out. There's a form in your back office that gives you the ability to make changes to your spouse's account. Before we could just say, oh yes, change it on my spouse's account. Legal jumped in, said no. This form needs to be filled out. They need to sign it, and it needs to come from their email address, okay? So that when you're on the call making a call to change a debit card, you have the ability to do that with your team, with your spouse's account. Okay, so when I had called and changed my debit card, I said, yes, please do it for all of my accounts because I've always been used to saying that and everything being fine. Well, I didn't have that thing filled out, so they didn't change his account. And here I am, and then it's my responsibility to check every week on what's missing, and I didn't. And guess what? You know how much money I lost? It was the biggest mistake I've made in months, let me tell you. It was not pretty. Because I don't funnel any, for me, I have my second business center, so all of my retail goes through that. But if you didn't have a second business center, you would be funneling some of your product through your spouse's account. So I'm not funneling any product through my spouse's account. So he has 0 retail. So the only income that he has in that account is residual volume. So residual volume means being an emerald, ruby, diamond, or above. That's the only way you collect money, like Monopoly. So guess what his paycheck was? Because of my big, stupid rookie mistake. And for me, that cost me about $400, which sucks. And I would lesson learned. So I'm passing that lesson on to you. The lesson is I put in my phone for Monday. You can see here, Monday. At 9 a.m. is, oh, you can't see. At 9 a.m., fix back office. That means we've already gone through the Thursday kind of like people fixing their accounts. Monday morning, check the back office, go to the sponsorship drill down, make sure everybody's okay, and those that are showing up red, reach out to them. Maybe there is a debit card issue, maybe they don't know it, and I would hate for you to lose rank, to lose money that you've worked very hard for. So that's my big lesson, is to check that on Monday, and also find that form, go in the back office under forms and find out that spouse form and have your husband sign it. And it has to come from his account. So send that off. Okay, now we're gonna get to the good stuff, I think. Let me just look at my notes real quick. Yeah, that's good. All right, so we're gonna talk to Ellie, and I see her here on the Zoom call. I'm gonna unmute her in 1 second. I'm just going to give you kind of a background of Ellie and how she ended up where she ended up right now. So a couple months ago, I was looking for an assistant. I was using a virtual assistant. I just this year started using an assistant because what I found myself doing is I have so many people in my downline. I found myself managing more than recruiting. And once you find yourself in management mode more than 10% and you're not recruiting, 90% recruiting, then you need to look at that. And so for me, I know better, but the problem is that my workload with managing had become so large that that I really needed help. So I was using someone on Elance to share, do some social media for me, and she was posting, and you can tell she was kind of losing her, she just wasn't into it. And so I really needed somebody to help me in my social media and just managing things and my customers and just sending out those things that don't necessarily need my personal touch, but something that people need to get from me, you know. So I went and searched for an assistant, and I used a tip that one of the top coaches, Leslie Cordes, had shared with me, was to post in your local garage sale group. So I had been thinking about it for a long time, and then all of a sudden this group popped up on Facebook, and it was ISO, so in search of, and my local, you know, it's Santa Clarita. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. I think I need to join that group because I'm in search of an assistant. So I had posted, I went through what I needed, and I said, okay, I'm just going to post, you know, looking for an assistant. It was a very short and to the point post. And those people that were interested, I was going to send them a link to an Evernote document that explained exactly what I needed. So I did that, and I had about 30 people say, yeah, I want to do it. I sent 30 people a link to this Evernote document that explained exactly what I wanted, and only had about, I had 3 people apply, and when they checked the Evernote doc, it showed exactly what I needed and said, okay, if you're still interested, here's an application. So I sent them to an application, and I created these questions on this application. I would be happy to share that if I can find the form. But there were questions about, you know, being, I wanted somebody that obviously understood me, but that's easy to teach, I think. But more of, you know, somebody that was a self-starter. And it's very easy to say you're a self-starter, but when you have to explain what a self-starter is, you have to kind of take it a step further. So I asked a lot of those kind of questions. Well, Ellie was one of those lovely people that filled out the application, and I even put references. Okay, so she filled out the application. Her answers were like amazing, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, like this is exactly what I want. And the other 2, one was just, it was obvious that she was not going to work for me, and the other one ended up being kind of flaky because her references were not real. So by chance, I met with Ellie at the mall, and we sat and talked, and she knew of Beachbody. Her friend was doing it, and but her friend gave it an icky feel. So she was like, I don't want to do Beachbody, but I'll help you. You know, this is cool. I'll help you. I'm at home. I've got my son, and I don't want to have to go back to work. So if I can earn some extra money, you know, kind of doing something that that I'm passionate about, being around fitness, and so it was like a perfect fit. So she sat here for a few days to just so I could kind of show what you know what my deal is, and it was like her ears kind of perked up, and then they perked up more, and then she was like, wait a minute, this is not. My friend does this, and she just makes it look icky. You don't make it look icky. What is this? So anyways, long story short, she jumped on to be a coach about 3 weeks into working with me, and has now been a coach for a month. And in her first month, she hit Success Club 20. Okay? So you're all wondering, how the heck did that happen? I will tell you, and she's going to explain it, but I will tell you that it wasn't easy. Okay, it wasn't easy. It's not that there's no magic secret, but she's going to share exactly what she did. Right? Right. Okay, so Ellie, I'm going to take you off. I'm going to unmute you. Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there. I can hear you. I'm going to spotlight that video there.
Okay.
Okay.
I see myself.
Okay, you're on. You're on. Go ahead and share a little bit about your story, if you can. And I know I just kind of did, but fill in the gaps. Oh, you're on mute. I can't hear you. Hold on. Hold on.
You can sit down.
There you go.
Okay, Mike.
Okay, I unmuted you because we couldn't hear you. Hi, Shay.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. If you see a foot popping up, it's because Evan's on my lap, and then Shay's right next to me, and they won't leave. So.
Okay. Perfect.
Can you hear me? Fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You're choppy. So.
Me?
No.
Can you hear me good or no?
There. I can hear you there.
Okay. Can you hear me now or no?
Yeah. But I can hear you. It's just it gets choppy. So.
I mean, you want me to move so it's not as choppy?
No, try and talk, and then I'll jump in if I can't hear you.
Okay. I can move to another part. This might be a choppy part of the house, but
okay.
I can move if it's easier.
I think you're okay.
Okay. Okay, so I started and I jumped right into the training, that 2-week training that you have. And the first thing that I saw that I had to do was the free group. And I love motivating people anyway, and I'm pretty much into fitness and nutrition as it is, so I put it out there for the free group on my personal page. And I got, a few people to do it, and then I sent a couple messages, got a couple people to do that, and then I did the event that somebody suggested. Is everybody familiar with creating an event on Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah? No?
Yep. Thumbs up.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I created an event, and I went through and I invited as many people as I thought would be interested. I didn't just blanket my whole friend list. I picked certain people that I thought would want to do it. I created it, and a bunch of people decided to jump in, so many that I think it was like 80 people for my first free group, because I kind of did it before jumping to the next part of the training, where I was just supposed to do the private message thing. Remember I asked you, Anna, and then I kind of figured it out later?
Yeah.
So I created the event. I had like 80 people in my first free group. Probably only about 10 actually participated. But it was really active. We had a lot of communication, a lot of people going back and forth and, offering ideas and loving the recipes and using the shopping list and doing everything that they were supposed to do. And then towards the end of it, when it was time to pitch the paid group, everybody, when I first talked about it, was all about it. Yeah, of course I want to do the 21-day thing. It sounds really cool, and the container thing sounds awesome. So I was really excited, and I was like, oh my, this is going to be awesome. I'm going to hit Success Club. So I did that, and then when I ended up messaging people and told them how much it cost, a lot of them said, oh, never mind, I don't have the money. Shakeology is too expensive, and that's when I got really bummed out, because I thought it's not going to work. My free group went fine, but now I'm not really going to do what counts and do a paid group. And that's when I messaged you that I was kind of like, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? So I was down, and then I read up on something, or I don't remember what I saw on the Team Victory page that motivated me to say, you know what, everybody hits this slump. I'm going to keep at it. I'm going to keep asking people. And I put it on Instagram, and I hashtagged the heck out of it. I put it on my like page, and I boosted the post. Can you guys hear me still?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep.
I boosted the post, and I didn't boost it a lot. I boosted it by like $5, just to get maybe other people that aren't on my friends list. And I got one person out of there. But what I did also in the meantime was I had a couple kids' birthday parties, and I also at school, any moms I ran into, pretty much anywhere I went, I talked to people, and I made friends with them, at least casually, and I would tell them about the local garage sale groups where I live. Hey, so have you heard about these local garage sale groups? They're awesome to buy and sell. And most of them hadn't, and if they did, they didn't know of all of them. So I said, oh, just add me on Facebook, and then I'll add you to the garage sale group. So I met a bunch of people that way that I added on Facebook, and 2 of them actually recommended their friends to my like page. And 2 of those people ended up being people that bought the challenge pack. So a lot of it came from me just making friends outside of Facebook, and then a couple other ones came from me going through my friend list. I printed up that friend list, just like Anna and Heather always say, and it took me a while to actually finally do it, but I did it. I went through and I tried to highlight the ones that I thought would really benefit from the fitness group, and I knew that had been struggling with their weight. And I messaged them, and a lot of them at first did say no, the cost was too expensive. But after explaining, hey, you know what? If you don't like it, you have a 30-day guarantee. Even at the end of the 21 days, you have 7 more days to think about whether you liked it or not. So I always reminded them that you get your money back. If you don't like it, you get your money back. Even if you finish the whole bag of Shakeology, you get your money back. So that helped with a couple people that were about to say no way. A couple people, once I explained the program to them and I explained all the additional resources, because they thought, oh, $140, that's too much. But the meal plans and the recipes and the shopping list and the container cheat sheet, all that extra stuff that you have in the 21 challenge box that you have in the files, it's a lot of extras that you're giving them. So yeah, they're getting the containers and the Shakeology, but once I explained all the other stuff, like the meal plans, all the other resources in that 21 challenge box, that kind of is what drew a lot of people in, because some people can use the containers, but they want like a rigid meal plan. That's something else that, really kind of sold it to them. So when I would email them on Messenger, they said, oh, well, what does it consist of? What do I get, for the $140? So I listed everything that comes in the challenge pack, the Shakeology, the 7 videos, the containers, the 3-day quick fix. And then I continued and I said, personal fitness coaching, a daily meal plan, grocery shopping list, container cheat sheet. So it looks like you're getting a ton more than you really are. And then I reminded them, this isn't just, you're not just getting it for 21 days. You're doing it for the first 21 days. But if you need continued coaching, I reminded them that after that, they get added to my catch-all group, and I continue to reinforce it with, more nutrition tips, more meal plans if they want, because it's not hard to find a 21-day quick fix meal plan on Google. So I add one of those every week anyway for them. So to them, they thought, oh, well, it's $140, but it's like a lifelong plan that I get. So it's a lot more than $4 a day. So, I get 4 cents a day if you break it down to how long it'll take some people to lose weight. Okay. And I just kept at it. And a lot of them just heard it through friends, and it ended up at 20.
I know. You kept surprising yourself. I do know that. You were just hoping to hit it, and then you're like, oh my gosh, a couple more, and oh my gosh, a couple more. But there are a couple of things I'm going to ask you, and then I also want to bring up some of the conversations that we had while you were going through this process. So I'm going to just kind of recap what you did. You went through the Coach Welcome email, and you did a Getting Started Right call, technically, with me sitting here because we were here. So it was basically, here's how you get started right. Talk about what your goals were. Obviously you wanted to what you wanted to do with this business, what it looked like to you. Here's what it looks like to me. We went through that. Then I added you to the 2 Weeks to Success group, which is the 10-day, 10 modules that I talked about on the coffee talk as well. This is an additional training, or a modification of the training that I've been doing this year. We have our new coach boot camp, and then what I was doing was focusing a lot on getting that first free group up and running. And rather than being in a group chat, I created the beginning training modules like we're used to before. So you went through that first 2 weeks of free group. Now, this is where I want to stop for a second. You went through the first 2 weeks and you ran your free group, and you were not necessarily private messaging, right? Because you just said that. And you said, I've got all these people, and then all of a sudden it was, now all these people just don't, where'd they all go? So we talked about it. You private message, you started to create value. That was really kind of the one little tweak, I guess, would be, okay, well, creating value and you're private messaging them, so it's not just this blast. So you made just that little tweak once you started talking to people, but you did talk to the people in your free group. So you went through my point is you went through the process of getting your free group up and running and failing through it technically because it was your first one. So you'd be like, if you do a free group now, there are so many things that you probably were gonna change, because that first free group is you're just throwing things to the wall, following the template, hope it sticks. But I do remember that you felt frustrated because here you had these 80-something people, and there's not that many people, participating, and those people that were ready to go were not ready to go. So you had this frustration. It wasn't like you started hitting Success Club day one. In fact, when was the first? Do you remember the day that you had your first challenge pack? Or I should say, tell me the day that you had your first challenge pack in the month, and then when did you hit Success Club 5?
I started, August 27th is when I signed up as a coach, and September 10th is when I sold my first challenge pack, and also signed a coach. It was Angela. And then I didn't get another one until I think at least 3 or 4 days later. And that was just, I forgot to mention this, that was just through a text message, because there's some people that just aren't on Facebook, but, want to lose weight and want to get in shape. And I remembered one of the girls that I used to work with that used to always tell me I struggle with my weight, So I texted her just, hey, how are you doing? How's your daughter? I haven't seen you in a while. And she happened to text me back, I'm okay, I've gained a couple pounds. I said, hey, so I'm doing this challenge group. You're not on Facebook much, but, I could help you, and maybe you could just check in every couple of days. And immediately she was like, I'm down, I'll do it. So it was somebody that I was kind of reaching out to. Who else could I think of besides people that are on Facebook? Yeah. So that's another thing. I texted her late in the evening, and she got back to me and wanted to do it. So
yeah, so you started to think outside the box.
But it wasn't the month that I hit Success.
When did you hit 5?
Probably around the 16th of the month, 16th or 17th maybe.
Okay, so you hit your 5. But this was, and were you implementing the power of 3 when you first started? Or?
Yes, I was doing the power of 3 every day, but some days I couldn't get to it, so I would do like power of 10 on Monday if I knew that, like the days that I work at the sheriff's department, I know that I'm not going to be able to do all that I need to do. So I'll work, I'll do the power of 10 or 20 the days that I need to catch up on ahead of time. I try not to let it fall behind. I try to do it ahead of time because catching up is impossible for me. So like I know that some Thursdays I have to teach Spanish and go work in the sheriff's department, so I'll do Tuesday and Wednesday, I'll double it up to make up for Thursday.
Right. Okay. So I think my point is that the only magic there has been the fact that you followed the guideline. You went through the training. You stuck your neck out there. You invited, obviously, by texting people, by thinking outside the box. You got your feet wet in your free group. And then once you finished that first 2 weeks, you were in the New Coach Boot, our old version of New Coach Boot Camp. So you started to learn more about objections, and I'm trying to go through that boot camp and what you did. But I know that once you went through that boot camp as well, things started to open up and made sense because you had already run that first free group. So it was like, oh, this is how I would handle it because you've already had those conversations. And so based on the timeline too, your first 2 weeks, you go through that first 2 weeks of success, you finish your free group, you enter the next training, and you start to tweak the way that you're having conversations. Well, right around that time is the time that you started hitting Success Club. If you timeline, that's exactly what happens. So you followed the guideline. You didn't reinvent the wheel, right? You just duplicated. You're like, me. You duplicated. You used the resources that were there. Here's a meal plan. Here's a whatever meal plan, containers, tracker, and then you thought outside the box by looking on Pinterest and looking for more of those things so that you can create even more value to your challengers. So you didn't. My point is that you didn't create, like, sit down and write a whole new meal plan and create shopping lists and create. You use resources that were already there. But what you did was you shared that as part of the value in what they were getting in their challenge group, right?
Yes, I used everything that you have in the files section of the TVAs for the 21-day fixed challenge, and then I added I Googled a couple extra things that I thought would help them, like when I labeled my containers with the foods, the name of the foods that I wanted, and the amount of servings, that helped a lot. So I Googled a couple extra things, but for the most part, regroup, it was everything that you had, only what you had. Right.
Okay. So you just followed the steps. You did your power of 3. You invited more, obviously, because you were hitting Success Club 20, because the only way to hit Success Club 20 is to invite more people than 3 every day. You know what I mean? So if your goal is just to hit Success Club 5, then you do the power of 3. If your goal is to hit Success Club whatever, infinity, then you hit more than the power of 3. But the other point I want to make too is, and this is, everybody's watching this, is that you don't have all the time in the world for this business. You have kids. You have young kids that keep you busy. Right?
Yeah, the one that I can't put down because he won't get off my lap. Yeah, and I have, I teach on the side, I tutor, I work at the sheriff's department part-time, so yeah, but I just, what I have to do? I have to stay up late, sometimes till 1 or 2 in the morning, and do it then, because otherwise I'm not going to get any time without the kids. So I do it till then, and then I get up at 6 to take her to school.
He's looking at you.
He's my audience.
He's so darn cute. Okay, so what would you say? Like, what would be your biggest tip for a brand new coach, or a coach that's struggling with even getting one challenge pack sale? What would be your advice if someone came to you on this team and messaged you and said, you know what, I've been a coach for 3 months and I haven't sold one challenge pack. What should I do? So give kind of your advice on, because I know that there are people out there that fit that exact definition.
My biggest thing, oh shoot, I just got a low battery thing. My biggest thing was going to be, don't give up, because I was right there where I was going to give up, and I was going to be like, forget this, it's taking too much time, I'm missing my kids, I'm just going to work for Anna, but not with her on the beach party thing. And then I thought, heck no, I'm not giving up on this. So my biggest thing was, you just have to keep thinking of as many people to reach out to and how to reach out to them. Like, at the beginning, I just thought, just through Facebook Messenger, because that's just kind of what you think about when you think about the power of 3. Add a friend, message a friend, follow up with a friend. And then I thought, I have to do it other ways. So I talked to people at birthday parties. I sent text messages to people that aren't on Facebook. I put it on Instagram, and I asked people that were on Instagram. I was even willing, if they bought the challenge pack, I said, you know what, I'll email you the resources and I'll check with you daily on email. You don't have to be on Facebook. If you want to do it and you don't have a Facebook account, I'll do it with you on Instagram or I'll do it with you on email. I mean, I did it that way as well. And, you know, it really helps because there's a couple people that aren't on Facebook that wanted to do the challenge. And the biggest thing was also following up with people that either didn't get back to me or at first said, you know what, no, it's too expensive. I just kept reminding them, it's really not. Think about it as the money you spend on Starbucks every day when you drive to work. You spend $4 or $5 on breakfast and lunch anyway, if not more. Just spend that on the Shakeology and the fitness plan. And if you hate it, you can return it. You know, I reminded them you can return all of it, even if it's empty.
Yeah.
Reminding them really helps.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we forget about that as being part of the package, as being part of the value. And I know we talk about value. In fact, you had messaged me recently about your challenge group and about some of the participants in the challenge group that weren't necessarily showing that they were getting value because they were, and your gut instinct was that, you know, maybe they're not drinking it, maybe they're not following the plan, which was dead on. And the question was, can I put my Shakeology on hold? And you gave great advice in that you can put it on hold, that's fine. But I'm talking about value. So what I said, the only difference I would say in your message is what Carl Deichler says, and I know that a lot of you on here have heard him say this too, is that you shouldn't have leftover Shakeology, because and this is in a coach's terms, you shouldn't have leftover Shakeology because you should be drinking it every day. I do have leftover Shakeology, which is I feel guilty about because, you know, there are days that I don't drink it, and I should be drinking it because I know I need it. So creating that value, so having the response, but saying, you know, first of all, I don't have any leftovers. I shouldn't have any leftovers because I should be drinking it every day, so I don't need to put it on hold because it is that valuable. So rather than answering the question, you know, it's how do I get this across to how valuable this really is? Because when you just answer the question, you're in yourself just not creating that value. But what you did in your invite when you said, you have a money back guarantee. So don't, because people are afraid to make a commitment because they failed before. And so they don't want to make one more commitment that they're going to fail and then they're going to lose the money because they just don't believe in themselves. So I think it's really important to just create that value versus just quickly answering the question. And this goes in inviting as well. I mean, this particular incident was actually talking to people that were drinking it. But it also goes hand in hand with you saying, here's exactly what you get. And I think that we sell ourselves short a lot of the times by not sharing that, because we just think that it's not that we don't think that it's valuable. It's just that we think that we're just so used to it. Like, okay, we've got trackers, but when somebody is ready to commit with something, you know, it's like, okay, what can I get for that money? And you're giving them exactly that, but we're not sharing that. So I think that for me, I think the biggest highlight and the tip that I'm taking into, into my own conversations is reminding them they have the value, they have the money back guarantee, and you get this and this and this and this and this. And then truthfully, you can just look in the 21-day fix box and see all of the stuff in there and list, this is exactly what you get. So for those that are not, that you're having the conversations, you're going through the power of 3, you're like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm talking to people, I'm asking them, but they're just not interested. I think that looking at what are you presenting to them is very important. I think that what you're presenting to them may not be valuable. It may just be this challenge pack and this challenge, and to them, they don't know what that is. oh, it's a challenge. I don't know what a challenge is. I don't know. I see you posting these things about challenges, but I don't know what that is. So of course, if I don't know what it is, I don't understand the value. So this is one more chance for me to fail. But when you lay it all out there and spend the time, I will say, just recently, God, I don't know what training it was. Oh, I think it was Janelle's National Wake Up Call, about taking the time to write something out. And I'm totally guilty of it because I'm super busy and I all these messages, and my messages are short. And as soon as Janelle said that, I said, you know what? I need to slow down. I need to write out exactly what this person needs to hear. And so I think that's exactly what you did, Ellie, was this is exactly, and I think we forget that. So my suggestion for those people that are having those conversations, slow down in the conversation. Think about where your person is at. Don't just go for the, jugular and like, this is the challenge pack. Think about where they're at and what they need, and then write it out. Take the time, because when you take the time to do that, it's going to pay off in the long run. And that's exactly what happened for you, is that you took the time to share with them exactly what they were going to get, and that you were willing to go out of your way to make sure that they got results, whether it was going to be a text message or email or Instagram. You went out of your way. And I learned that a lot today with Verizon, that the customer service girl that I've been working there with for years completely went out of her way, and she's been texting me for the last 3 days and on her personal number. Like, that just makes me want to be better and give more because of how valuable that was to me. And now I get my phone because she went out of her way. So you got to think of it in that sense, and it does take a little bit of extra time, but it feels so good right? Doesn't it not feel good to hit Success Club 20 because you went out of your way,
yeah.
Right?
I was freaking my husband, like, I cannot believe I even got to 5, because I didn't expect to get to 5, at least not right away.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. And honestly, It was all. A lot of it was just cut and pasting. I didn't write a big giant book every time.
Yeah.
I cut and pasted like of the program, and then I personalized the top part. Like, hey, how are you? How was Hawaii?
Yeah.
For a friend that just went to Hawaii, and the rest of it was the same.
Right. So personalizing it, but not reinventing the wheel is exactly what you did. And you just continue to do that, and now you're at 4. You're my fall classic partner, and you're beating me at 4. So there's no way you won't hit 5, because you just keep doing what you're doing, and obviously you're busy. So this is a really good observation of somebody that's incredibly busy. She's just like me. Her mind is always going. It's crazy. Like, I text her and she's working harder than me, and then that makes me want to work hard. But there's no excuse. She's here. She's got kids in both arms, and she's cooking, and she hasn't made an excuse for her not being on this call either. And there's her husband. Hi. But so somebody that's incredibly busy can be that successful and can hit those points because your why is big, your goals are big, you want to help people, and your intention is in the right place, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and when I thinking of that why was why I didn't give up. I was like, what do I have to lose? I'm just going to keep messaging people. Yeah, they might think I'm annoying, but I think most of that is just me thinking that, because most of them, when I message them back, some of them didn't respond at all or didn't even read it, but some of them did respond and said, oh, thanks for reminding me, or, thanks for reaching out. And some of them I'll follow up with for the next one. If they said, oh, I have to wait for payday, or I have to wait till next month. So
yeah,
I just kept messaging.
Okay, I have one more question, and then we're going to end the call. The question is, because I know that this question is out there. If you were not working for me, oh, you froze. I hope you're still there. Are you still there? There you are. Okay. If you were not working for me, doing my extra work, would your results be different? Right? You see where I'm going? Well, I wish that it's like, I want to be her assistant. Because I'm getting the inside scoop. So take yourself out of that. And if you weren't working for me, what would you say to somebody else that would think, well, I have an answer to it, but I won't answer it. Go ahead.
I think if I wasn't working for you, I would have to spend that time. I don't know. I mean, I'd probably spend more of that time with my kids. I don't know if I'd spend more of that time on the business because I'm already spending, like, you already know, too much as it is because I'm obsessed with it. Like, somebody messages me and I want to respond right away, but I would probably spend more time looking at the files, more time looking at all the different training, definitely more time reading the self-improvement books that you suggest.
I think my question, I think my point is actually, do you have an advantage over somebody else, another coach, because you're?
Oh no.
Can you explain why? That's why.
Well, because I have, I'm the stuff that I do for you isn't really relative to. It doesn't really, your social media and all that stuff. I have my own like page and I have my own Facebook page, and you have your audience is different than my audience, so it's completely different.
Okay.
Than who I'm reaching out. And I don't reach out to the nurse or your circle of friends. It's all my end is totally different, and it's the only way it benefit me is that it just pushes me because I see how successful you are.
Yeah. Okay. So I knew what your answer was going to be, and I was just kind of guiding you along in that case. But I would say also is that the difference I think between you and some people is that you show up every day. You are not afraid to message me about your own business, not about what I have going on. So it's, hey, I'm doing this. Hey, my challenger is saying this. And so my point is, I think I've said this in the coffee talk, is that my door is open for everybody. And if you're posting in the group, the question and tagging me and, just showing up, I think it does makes a huge difference, because we've kind of like kept you in the lane. You're like, okay, can you help me with this? And I send you to the team page all the time too. Like, post that in the group, the question in the group. And, so it's not like we are having extra private conversations about the business, because I want to make sure that you get the same experience that everybody else gets as far as, questions being answered. But you show up, you ask questions, and you make changes based on those questions. That's what I wanted to say. Would you agree?
First, I message you, but it makes total sense to put it on the wall, because then everybody else can hear what I'm asking, and I figure I benefit a lot from everybody else's questions, so I'm sure everybody else could benefit from mine too, since I'm kind of clueless. I'm following everybody else's lead right now.
See, that's perfect. You're absolutely right. And so nobody's different. Everybody's the same boat. You started at 0, just like everybody else, and you just show up, you do the thing, you tweak it, you get better at it, and you don't give up when you thought you were going to give up. So.
Well, too.
What's that?
Like Maria, she did amazing as well, so.
I know, no, absolutely, Maria, but Maria is an awesome coach and a leader. My point in this is that you're a brand new coach. And so this is exactly where you're comparing people too. Like, it's just natural for people to compare, but we don't know each other's stories. So someone may think you hit 20 points and you must be a coach for a long time. Well, no, you've been a coach for a month. And you know what I mean? Like, that's why comparing me, it's that quote that I posted the other day about comparing.
No, it's scary, and I hope I can continue to, like you said, my goal was 5, but you said no, 10. You know what? It will be 10. So hopefully I can get to 10, but I'm just going to, if I don't, I'll just keep crunching until the last second.
Yes, and I definitely want to give a shout out to Maria, because I have to say, Maria is on fire. And you can, where is she? I saw her here earlier.
Right there.
There she is. I'm going to spotlight you. Hold on, spotlight. There she is. I'm going to give you major props, because what is,
you need a
for hitting those numbers. And I'm going to spend 2 minutes on this because I think it's important, because this is what I love. I love everybody's story. I love to connect with everybody and know where they were, where they came from, where they are now. So for you, you've been a coach, you've been around, but you also have had, life hit you hard, and, you in the beginning, you had a bunch of coaches, and then those coaches went away, and you could have easily said, and then life hit you with a curveball, and you could have easily said, screw this, I'm out, right?
Right.
Because why do I need this? All these coaches left, and I just, life is hard. It just sucks. But you went through that dip, and you came out the other side because you knew the value of the opportunity.
Right.
And you were just like, forget this. I'm making this happen. And what you did was the same thing as Ellie. Is like, I'm making this happen no matter what. And you just did the thing. And I know that you technically don't follow the power of 3, but on paper you are following the power of 3, because you're tracking everything. You're following up. You're tracking, following up. You're thinking outside the box. You're making it happen. So that's the reason why you hit 20 points, was because the same thing. You didn't give up.
Right.
You had failures. We all have failures, right?
Yeah.
So I have to give you major props, because you're killing it. And I can tell in your confidence, how you're presenting yourself in the business, this is happening. So congratulations, my dear.
Thank you.
Do you have anything to say? Any tips?
My tip, I put it on the page. I don't know if it was Team Vic, I think it was the All-Stars, that the event, and I stepped outside and was very uncomfortable inviting all my doctor friends. I'm like, they're above, you think they're above you or whatever. I'm like, forget it. I'm just going to do it. And by inviting those people, they invited other people who, in that business, that they're not the most healthiest people, and they need to be. So that was what really helped me this time. And stepping outside my box, my comfort zone, people I would never ask, and not being afraid of no.
Right.
And then I saw Ellie, and I'm like, no way, she's beating me. Okay, I go and post. She's ahead of me. I'm ahead of her. So it was for me, it was a little competition. I don't even know her, and that helped me too. And even now, I'm at 6, she's at 4, and I know she's going to keep going above me. So it's fun for me.
Awesome.
So yeah.
I think it's valuable in both cases. Find somebody on the team that you connect with, or that they've got something going on, and you're like, oh, I know for me, that's what I do. Oh, she's one up on me, that kind of thing that I work well on. But I think it was very important, your point about stepping outside of the box. When you normally would say, I'm not going to ask, because you're assuming, you're prejudging.
Right.
But instead, you said, screw this, I'm going to stop prejudging, and look what happened. So I'm glad you shared that. That was awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. We've been on for an hour, and I got to go play hockey. So
thank you.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
All right, bye.